Good morning, class. Today for math, I need you to make sure you have pages 159, 161, and 163 torn out of your GoMath book. If you do not, pause this video, go tear those pages out, and then come back. Today in math, we are working on lesson 3.4. The title of our lesson is Problem Solving with Modeling Multiplication. Our essential question is, how can you use the strategy, draw a diagram to solve 1- and 2-step problems? Unlock the problem. 3 groups of students are taking drum lessons. There are 8 students in each group. How many students are taking drum lessons? All right, so we're going to fill out this diagram to break it down for us. What do I need to know? Well, I need to find how many students are taking drum lessons. What information do I need to use? There are 3 groups of students taking drum lessons. There are 8 students in each group. Okay. How will I use the information? Well, I'm going to draw a bar model to help me see the total number of students. So this is a bar model, all right? And I always kind of think of it like a chocolate bar, like a Hershey's bar. You know, it has the little sections in it. You also have Kit Kat bars have little sections. But I want you to think of each section as a group, okay? So it's just like if you had drawn equal groups and they were touching, all right? So each box is a group, all right? So we have 3 groups, right? So here we have 1, 2, 3 groups. Then inside each group, we're going to write the number of how many are in each group. So we know each group has 8. Okay? So now I have 3 groups that each have 8 in them. Now this bar here is showing that this is the total number because this is from here to here. So it's the total number of students. Now, it has a gray square because that's what we're trying to find out. We don't know the total number of students. That's what we want to find out. Since there are equal groups, I can multiply to find the number of students taking drum lessons. Now, we aren't necessarily multiplying it, but we can write this problem out. There's 3 groups of 8, and we learned that you write that 3 groups of 8. Okay, this is not 8 times 3 because 8 times 3 would be 8 boxes with 3 in each of them, and it looks entirely different. Now, we don't know our multiplication facts yet, so we're going to use some of the strategies that we have been learning to solve this problem. Going back up to our bar model, we can skip count, and we can also use repeated addition. So it would be the same as saying 8 plus 8 plus 8 to find the total. So we're adding up the amount in each group. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Okay, and then 16 plus 8 is, if you're not sure, you could write it on the side. 6 plus 8 is 14. 2, so that's 24. So I know that 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 24, which tells me also that 3 times 8 equals 24. So there are 24 students in all. Okay. Let's try another problem. 12 students in Mrs. Taylor's class want to start a band. 7 students each made a drum. The rest of the students made 2 shakers each. Ooh, this sounds like a 2-step problem, maybe a 3-step. How many shakers were made? Okay, so what do I need to find? Well, first, let's talk about what we have to find first, because we know how many students made a drum, right? But we don't know how many students made shakers because it just says the rest of the students, right? So first we need to find out how many students made shakers. Okay. But what do I need to find out after that? So then I need to find out how many shakers those students made in all. Because I know that of the students that made shakers, they each made 2, right? So then I need to find how many shakers they made in all. Okay. So we're using these read the problem boxes to help us kind of break down the thought process with solving word problems. So what information do I need to use? Okay, so let's put down all the information that we know. So we know that the band equals a total of 12 students, correct? Yes. All right, and we know that 7 students made drums. So made drums, 7 students. Right? And then we know blank students, I don't know why my blank looks like a frown, sorry about that, made 2 shakers each. All right. So how am I going to use this information? Well, I am going to use this information to draw a bar model and solve, right? So let's go over here. So record the steps you use to solve the problem. All right, so this has 12 students, which I know that's the total number of students in the band. So these 2 bars from here to here are the number of students in the band. They're not equal groups. You can clearly see that they are different sizes. We looked at bars like this when we did addition and subtraction in chapter 1. Okay, so I know that 7 students, these are drums, so I'm going to make a note here. 7 students made drums. The rest of the students made shakers, correct? So if the total amount of students is 12, and we know that 7 made drums, how do we find the remaining amount of students? Think about it. If I know that this bar and this bar together will total 12, then that's like saying 7 plus what equals 12, right? But I can also take my total amount, subtract one part to find the other part. So I'm going to take 12 minus the part we know, 7, to find out the part that remains. So what is 12 minus 7? 5. So 5 students made shakers. Am I finished? I'm not, because they want to know how many shakers were made in all. So now let's draw a new bar model, okay, that helps us find how many shakers were made in all. So I know there were 5 students that made shakers. Okay, so I'm going to draw, and then I'm going to make it 5 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 5th box is kind of big. Whoops. We're going to pretend those are the equal size. The total number, that's what this bar is for, remember, will be a blank students, because we don't know what the total, or not blank students, sorry, blank shakers. Whoops, I wrote the wrong label. Blank shakers, because we don't know the total number of shakers. These are the students. There's 5 students. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. Now, how many shakers did each student make? Go back to your problem. The rest of the students made 2 shakers each. So each. So if they each made 2 shakers, that means this student made 2, this student made 2, this student made 2, this student made 2, and this student made 2. So now I have 5 equal groups with 2 in each, and this represents 5 students who made 2 shakers each. Now I have to solve to find out how many in all. Okay, I can use skip counting and I can use repeated addition. This is 2, so skip counting would be quite easy. So let's skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I know there are 10 shakers in all. But because we're learning how this relates to multiplication, let's write this in a multiplication sentence. How many groups are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 groups of, how many in each group? 2 equals, what's our total? 10 shakers. Now, bonus question. How come we didn't write a multiplication sentence for this up here? I'll let you think about it. This bar model up here is an addition subtraction bar model. If you notice, it is not made of equal groups. In order to use repeated addition, skip counting, or multiplication, you must have equal groups. This does not have equal groups. This does not have anything to do with addition or multiplication. This is adding these 2 bars together to get the total. Okay? All right. So how many shakers in all did the students make? In all. In all. So I know that there were 5 students that made shakers. They each made 2. So 10 shakers was our final answer. Okay. How do I know my answer is reasonable? Well, because I skip counted by 2s. Okay. Grab your next page, page 161. All right. Page 161. There are 6 groups of 4 students who play the trumpet in the marching band. How many students play the trumpet in the band? First, draw a bar model to show each group of students. Draw blank boxes and write blank in each. Well, first of all, how many groups are there? There are 6 groups, so that means I need to draw 6 boxes. Let's make sure we have 6 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That represents our 6 groups. Now, how many are there in each group? Go back to your problem. There are 6 groups of 4. So that means I need to write 4 in each box. So here we go. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So my bar model is now showing me 6 groups of 4. This bottom bar represents the total, which we don't know the total number of students. So it's a blank box, and students is your label. It says then multiply to find the total number of trumpet players. Well, we're not multiplying yet, but we are writing the multiplication sentences. So we can use repeated addition or we can skip count. Now remember, 4 is one of those numbers where half of 4 is 2. So we're actually able to skip count by 2 twice if you wanted to do that. So I could say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So I know the total number is going to be 24. I'm going to write it here so don't forget. Now let's write this multiplication sentence. Remember, when you're representing it with a picture, the order does matter. So how many groups are there? 6. 6 groups of how many? 4. And we know that equals 24. So 24 students play the trumpet in the marching band. I want to show you something else. Look at this whole phrase up here that I'm marking. 6 groups of 4. That right there tells you your multiplication sentence. 6 groups of 4. Okay? So always pay close attention to those details. Let's go down here. What if there are 4 groups of 7 students who play the saxophone? How many students play the saxophone and the trumpet? Or the trumpet. Okay, so 4 groups of 7. Let's draw a bar model up to the side here. So we need 4, right? All right, so our bar model is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. So there's our 4 groups of 7. So 7 in each. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the total amount is blank. We don't know. Right? All right, so let's do 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. Repeated addition, right? I know 7 and 7 is 14, and 7 and 7 is 14, so let's just add up 14 plus 14 on the side. Okay? 4 plus 4 is 8, 1 plus 1 is 2. So this is 28 students total that play the saxophone, right? Are you with me so far? Okay. So I know that 24 students play the trumpet. And it says how many students play the saxophone or trumpet. Or I need to add 24 students play the trumpet plus 28 students play the saxophone. So let's go off to the side where we got some extra room and let's add them up. Good mathematician always shows their work. 4 plus 8 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. So 52 what? Go back to your question. How many students? 52 students. Okay. Think smarter. Ooh, a challenge question. Let's see if we can do it. Suppose there are 5 groups of 4 trumpet players. In front of the trumpet players are 18 saxophone players. How many students play the trumpet or saxophone? Okay, so now we need to draw 5 groups, right? So let's go ahead and draw a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my 5 groups. And I need to put 4 in each. And find the total. Okay. Now, with fours, I know that I can skip count by 2 twice. So I can say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So I know that 5 times 4, 5 groups of 4 equals 20. All right, so if I have 20 trumpet players plus 18 saxophone players, how many do I have in all? So let's add them up on the side, as we're good mathematicians and we always show our work. So that means that 38 students play the trumpet or saxophone. Okay, let's do another one. In a garden, there are 3 rows of plants. Okay, there are 5 plants in each row. 6 of the plants are pumpkin plants, and the rest are corn. How many corn plants are in the garden? This is another multi-step problem. So the first thing we need to do is find out how many plants in the garden altogether. Because we know there's 3 rows with 5 plants in each, right? And we know that 6 of them are pumpkin plants. But we need to find the total number of plants first before we can deduce the pumpkin plants to find out how many are corn. So in order to do this, it's 3 rows of plants. That's the same as saying 3 groups. Okay? So if you did a bar model, you would have a nice short bar, and it'd have 1, 2, 3 groups. Okay? There are 5 plants in each row, same as each group. So 5, 5, and 5. I can easily skip count by 5, so 5, 10, 15. So I know there are 15 plants total, right? Started to write a T because I was saying total. Happens. Okay. So I know I have 15 plants, but 6 of the plants are pumpkin and the rest are corn, and we want to know how many are corn. So my total number of plants is 15, right? 6 of them are pumpkin, so I'm going to take away the pumpkin. What is 15 minus 6? 9. Good. So 9 what? How many corn plants? There are 9 corn plants. I wouldn't just say there are 9 plants because that's not true. There's 15 plants. All right. Now, to mix it up a little bit, I want you to actually grab your assignment page, which is 163. Okay? Looks like this. Because you now have many tools in your tool belt. You know you can use drawing equal groups, you can skip count, you can use repeated addition, you know how to write a multiplication number sentence, and you also learned how to use jumping like a frog on a number line. So when you go to do problem solving with multiplication, okay, you can choose any of the diagrams that we have learned. All right, you don't have to use the bar model because that's the one we used in this lesson. You can draw equal groups, you could draw a number line, or you can draw the bar model. All right, I want you to pay attention to these directions because it says the model multiplication. You're modeling it. You're representing it with a picture. That's why it says draw a diagram to solve each problem. So let's look at number 1. Robert put some toy blocks into 3 rows. There are 5 blocks in each row. How many blocks are there? So you could draw 3 rows and put 5 in each row. You could draw 3 groups, 1, 2, 3, and then put 5 in each group, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could draw a bar model like this, 3 groups, put 5 in each group, and then find the total. You could draw a number line. and show jumps down the number line. It is a little more time consuming because you have to draw the number line. You have to label the number line. So it is a little more time consuming. But if you like it that way, then you have this nice straight line right here you can use. But in the end, we found that the total is 15 blocks. Okay, so let's do number 2 together. Mr. Fernandez is putting tiles on his kitchen floor. There are 2 rows with 9 tiles in each row. How many tiles are there? So this time I'm going to draw a picture, and I'm going to draw the 2 rows. So let's say here's row 1, and let's say here's row 2. Okay, and then I need to put 9 tiles in each row. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, I almost ran out of room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I have shown you 2 rows with 9 tiles in each row. I could use repeated addition, which would be 9 plus 9. I could use skip counting to find my answer. I'm not going to tell you the answer because this is your assignment. But I am going to show you 2 other ways I could have done it. For 2 rows with 9 tiles in each row, I could have drawn 2 groups, 1, 2, and I could have shown 9 in each group, like that. I could have done a bar model, made it into 2 groups and wrote 9 and 9 and found the total. There's lots of different ways I could have solved it, okay? Let's look at number 3. In Jillian's garden, there are 3 rows of carrots, 2 rows of string beans, and 1 row of peas. There are 8 plants in each row. How many plants are there in the garden? Okay, they just want to know how many plants, so it doesn't matter what plants. So let's draw 3 rows for the carrots, 2 rows for string beans. Ooh, I hope we don't run out of room. I'm cutting it close. And 1 row for peas. Oh boy. They got smaller and smaller. And there's 8 in each, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You might have to pause your video to do this. This is time consuming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you could use repeated addition and add up the 8 in each row. You could skip count. I could also do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could do 6 groups and put 8 in each group. I could do a bar model of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, it should be a bar model of 6 with 8 in each group. See how easy it is to make mistakes when you hurry? So let's try a bar model of actually 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then I have 8 in each. And I would find the total. Any of these ways works. Now, if you wanted to draw 3 separate photos or pictures or diagrams, you could draw a diagram for carrots, a diagram for string beans, and a diagram for peas, and find each of their totals and then add them together if that's easier for you. It's your choice. Now, I'm going to change colors because there's one more thing I want to show you before you leave. We are not multiplying yet, but what we are doing is we're learning how multiplication is related to skip counting, repeated addition, and all of these things. So let's just practice writing the multiplication sentence for these 3 problems. So here I have 3 rows with 5 blocks in each, right? So I have 3 groups of 5. So that would be 3 groups of 5. And we found out that totals 15. Look at number 2. We have lots of examples here, but we know it's 2 rows with 9 tiles in each row. So when we draw it out, it's 2 groups of 9. And I'm not going to tell you the answer because that's one of your problems on your assignment. On number 3, we have 3 rows, 2 rows, and 1 row, which totaled 6 rows, right? 6 rows or 6 groups of how many in each group? 8. That would be 6 groups of 8. Okay? Please take your time, use your math journal to draw out these problems, and count carefully. Do your best.